Okay, so here's what I'm going to suggest. I don't know, you don't have to believe me, but I think that the part about counting children, right, in the end of Job was that if they didn't come up with the same count, that God would have been a cult. Do you remember this cult called the Finders? And you wouldn't remember, but if you remember hearing about them, if you remembered them, you would be fucking gross. No, do you remember hearing about them or seeing a interview or an interrogation when they even got caught? And there's some of the interrogation is in the public domain back in the 50s. I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. Right? Because in order for Satan to to demonize Job, he would have to say like, "What about your missing kids?" And he was like, well, "I know where my kids are." He's like, "They're dead, but I know where they are." And then okay, run a count then, because after Satan says like that it's okay. It's like it's whether or not that he loves this God or not is the God that he's talking to. So that's the same God that if you say that you gave him so many children and he lost them, he doesn't have run. He lost count of them. You don't know where they're at. He didn't saying he doesn't love you. He was like, I know they're dead, but I know where they are. And this God is not a cult, because like, I'm not saying that this is an argumentation, but I mean, in the culmination, he must have discovered that that he was not a cult or something, because like, or you can't charge me with being a cult, because you would be occulting metaphysical information between you and God about how many kids that you have, and occulting it to hide it and to say that you were never given these children. When the Finders, they opened a school for gifted, intelligent children, and they exposed them to deprivation, starvation, like mild starvation, and they were dressed in shrubs and like sackcloths, and they was like, oh, it's okay because they're participating in some kind of like experiment or project or something that they wanted to be involved in. And then some of them came up missing, and it's called the Finders, and it's a fucking cult. They wanted to troll Russia back in the late 50s, early 60s. And it's some of the same the founders of the project are some of the same people involved with the uprise of Silicon Valley. Yada yada. Because just by I mean, maybe you think that I'm just rubbing the dirt in and say that if you're on one side or your guys is wrong because you didn't care about or you won't talk about what this issue's like. It's like, but then at the same time, right? At the same time, I mean, it's what I can already tell, so I don't want to give away something like of your observant or something. There's an angle here. There's an angle here. I'm not able to eloquate it. It's an angle there. because it's the same thing. It's like it's like in Job, like you, you, you're talking about this, so you must be one of these types that thinks all this and all that is like the how or what or this or whatever, right? So, and then it's been proven that all your guys' theories is wrong. So here's a fucking idiot, and then I'm gonna go around and change my mind on everything in secret. Like I'm gonna go and next time you see me, I'm gonna be like, Joe Biden, you let us down, or something. Like you're gonna be like, you're gonna slowly turn back all the shit behind these swivel-faced fucking scat fucking trying to get us to take the regurgitated fucking dumpster chain of fucking 2,000 flushes. They're trying to shard us. I was a scat man doesn't mean that I think a scat is Sammy Samosa is a scat, a piece of scat. You know what I mean? Before I think a piece of scat is like, you know, it's like I'm conflating, you know? What for? To play both sides of a fence and be on the team. It's not about being on the side. It's about being with the team. You don't have a team. You're not on you. If you're on the team, you don't care about two sides of anybody else's fucking mix up. You wouldn't care about two sides of anybody's mix up. I don't care if it's a downstairs mix-up junk or a fucking the doorway opens up in his forehead and it's Terrence McKenna. Like, you're a left or a right wing, like, of a organism that's shit's not gonna get off the ground. It's fighting itself all the time. It's fighting itself on behalf of you can disseminate an interview or an interrogation that happened between a police department, and if the fucking DOJ or somebody couldn't take over in time, it's in the public domain. What the fuck you want to do? Publishing is a bitch. But the only reason I'm mad is because I think it's to consider the people that I would most likely attempt to try to open up a Discord the dialogue with, and it's only after a certain amount of time of experiencing so much guilt because they are gaslighting. I can't help you for gaslighting emotionally. If I'm emotionally available, then I offend other people that support me because they don't want to see me cuck, and they're tired of seeing me cuck to somebody who doesn't have your best interests at heart. And fucking, it's not about whether or not what I say a piece is one or two sides of a fucking shitbird. It's about whether or not you actually meet up with anybody who is capable of supporting the slow build out on a template, like all that stuff you be talking about, you know. That suppose you need to know how to be a programmer and coding and shit, you know. You know what I'm saying? There has to be somebody handling things that you're not good at. Has to be somebody willing to handle things that you're not good at. And if they're not for right now, don't go listen to your sister tell you that the reason why nobody is helping you is because you're this and that, a psychopath and everything like that. She chased me down the hallway trying to leave because I was able to moderate and manage my tone. I come up with a strategy or a tactic to do it, a trick, whatever you want to call it. You left. I leave the building. that's like retroactively like socially engineering or something by leaving because you didn't subject yourself to a certain amount of sliming. What was that shit called? Not sliming. Fucking it is sliming, but there's another word for the sliming. And it would be inciting contentious bickering, but that's just a level. That's just a layer. Like that's just one aspect with it. It's a part that's brought on, like to the extent that you can be inviting. So it's like it's a little bit of an ultimatum, like wielding an ultimatum and emotionally manipulating. Like it's using emotion to access and beliefs and tell you what you're supposed to do. Why do women always figure out how to tell a motherfucker what they're supposed to do? And if you don't, then they're gonna ask you if you're okay. Are you okay? I don't understand. What does that do? Do you get your point across like this? Do you like have your intentions, your itinerary addressed, and do you get your agenda needs met and everything? Because we're all have agenda. That's one of the things. It's like I'll be putting this together a little slowly, like backwards, like you read a book backwards. The other day I was talking about its agenda. I didn't even know why I'm reiterating this, but it's for me. It's for me. Like agenda is what's important. It's not idealism. It's your agenda, your itinerary. I'm gonna get frustrated if we have to keep, like if I'm working with somebody that's gonna keep ignoring the itinerary that we agreed to work on something or finish something. You have to go. I know scammers are gonna say you have to complete the process too, but you have to execute your agreed obligations. The ones, the verbal and written obligation, like you came up with that yourself. How could anybody have a problem as long as somebody's saying what they mean and doing what they and does what they say? Anybody couldn't have a problem, right? So if motherfucker you just decide that you're not gonna be supportive already and I don't know, then who the fuck am I to say, why are you not doing this way? Why are you not doing that way? Why aren't you? Because like I'm still cucking, like I'm still getting cucked. And it's possible because you think that they have your best interests in heart. You don't have the whole picture, so you walk around and curse God until you get the picture. Then you can reel back and you could be like, whoa, no, I was wrong. Like, and then even after that, right? Like, so like some of the things that were taken out, right, got put back into Job's life, right? Even after that, there was these characters that came that represent, like one of them is like able to hit you with a scripture kind of type. The other one was like always able to engage people with a comeback kind of guy. And then there was one guy that was like I don't know what it thing. It was like something like a cynic or something. See, I don't. I had to stop reading. I had to stop thinking about this yesterday because you're not supposed to get all of this like right away. Like you're supposed to get a little bit, think about it, and come back because it's so deep that it's like it's in here, like it's there. You mean you don't want to be one of these weirdos that's acting like they want discovery and they already have discovery and they're afraid to, you know, they're acting like they want you to up the ante because they'll get discovery or something, but they already have it, and they don't want to ultimately it's like these two energies comes together, you know, and they didn't want to, like they were trying to plausibly deny each other or something like this. And that's the whole thing about discovery. How are you going to act? Or cross-reference, like, how are you going to do this and say that? How are you going to say this and you're doing that? And then you're going to say this and then you're going to act. Well, there's the end of that. Because you're saying, like, you start working, like, a little bit by little, and I didn't know all the first time I read, and maybe there's a good dang reason why I don't know it all. So maybe that was the thing. The last guy was the know-it-all guy, but he was also like a cynic or something. He was going to tell you what God meant and everything like that. So it's still going on, and I can't, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just read it and then come back and be like, okay, this and that, and I'm an expert, and I just saw 2-3 YouTube videos. The thing is, I found something wrong with each one of those YouTube videos, and it wasn't the information. It was like, I was suspicious of the use of music. I didn't like the way that this guy talks. You know what I mean? Because he was like, dude, you don't talk normal. Like, this isn't the way you normally talk. Why are you talking like that? Like, he was like doing the narration like it was Pixar. And I get that, like, it's like, you know, this is an incredible book, right, and everything, but the way that he's saying it is just like, I don't trust it. So you don't trust it makes you an expert over somebody, right? He's probably read it so many times in the narration. It's like, I'm not gonna just read it all right now. That's gross. Like, that's like the way that this sets you up in thinking, like, to figure out things, like, it's gonna like, you know, boosting isn't like good for you and shit, you know what I mean? But it's like, you don't want to think too much.